You know, our governor's out campaigning, telling people to fight, 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 but he's not here fighting for the Illinois residents like this family. They're being thrown underneath the bus. It's terrible the way they're being treated right now. We need to fight for our most disabled.
That's State Representative Charlie Meyer. A conversation I had with him briefly yesterday about a family he is aware of and who I talked with about their son's treatment and how they feel that they've been pressured to give up guardianship in exchange for care, while they also are fighting in court this week to keep their son close to home. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. I feel like this story is going to open some floodgates. I've already gotten tons of input and feedback from families and family associations who say that this is not just a single issue person that's being impacted by the state's decision. This is happening to families and has been happening to families for years here in the state of Illinois with the Department of Human Services. And the allegations are that the state pressures families who have children with disabilities, even adult children with disabilities, to give up guardianship to the state, and the state will take care of their care. But you also have the issues of proximity close to families and whether or not there are state facilities closer to families instead of transporting a adult child with disabilities off to a distant place that may be 4 hours away. Illinois is a pretty big state. So I talked with one family yesterday after hearing more about this, and you can go read the story at thecentersquare.com, and you can watch some of these clips, but obviously here with Illinois in Focus Daily, we go just a little bit deeper, but you can see the story here. Watch Illinois family fighting state to keep child with disabilities closer to home. And this is Gregory and William Dorsey. The mother is Danita. I talked with William yesterday, and he laid out where this case is from. His son's 26 years old. His son Gregory has autism, anxiety, ADHD. As a 26-year-old now, he has moments where his condition causes him to act out and even in some manners thrash around to the point where it actually got to injuring the mother, Danita, recently. And Gregory was taken to the hospital in Taylorville and held there for 17 days before the family got a court order to tell the state to put them in the Murrayville Center for people with disabilities. And then the state was trying to put the pressure on and ask the family to give up guardianship, according to the family. And then you've got the fight over the state wanting to take Gregory from being an hour and a half away from the family to being possibly 4 hours away from the family. And they're actually back in court Thursday. So here's a little bit of the more background from William Dorsey about what's transpiring here.
I feel that, the state of Illinois has these homes. They have multiple homes with opening beds. And we had to stay in this ER for 17 days with this availability. And they would not accept our son. And I find it very sad that we had to resort to going to court to get our son the help that he needs. And you have to excuse me, this is very emotional.
No worries. You take your time.
Thursday will be the 6th time that we got to go to court because the state of Illinois does not want to help our son. And we are to the age to where it takes about everything I have to try to calm him down. And that's why we're asking for help. We kept our son for 26 years, and now we're to the point to where we need help.
So obviously this family hurting because of the situation they're in and wanting to still be close to their son, but they can't handle their adult son who apparently has severe autism with anxiety and ADHD. I asked William Dorsey, the father here, what is the state saying? Why are you going back to court Thursday to keep them at a facility nearby?
It's all a language thing. They want to now, they want a Pacific home name. So we took him to our court order. We won it in court. The court said that he has to go to the nearest SODC that's closest to us, which would be the Murray Developmental Center in Centralia. And we took him there on April 8th of 2025. Or the 25th, I'm sorry. We took him there on the 25th. And we've been down there 3 times since. The staff is amazing. They want to keep him. And he has actually showed improvement in the short time that he's been there.
So William saying that the family does not want him moved because the staff there say he's doing well, but now you've got the prospect of them moving, and just to make sure people are clear, you've got the state government with the Department of Human Services under the Pritzker administration. They are the ones saying that they want to move Gregory from Murray Center to a facility in Northern Illinois, which William says is 3.5 to 4 hours away from the family, where Murray is only an hour and a half away. And there's also the issue of, the state pushing for that, but they have to go to court, which is a separate entity, right? We got checks and balances. While the courts are part of government, it's still the courts are the arbiter. So the family's going to court to battle the state in court, and the judge has already granted a court order for Gregory to be in the Murray Center and to be to the closest possible to the family. So Thursday they're going back to court, a 6th time to go to court over this issue. But William told me that the state has also pressured the family to give up guardianship in exchange for providing care for Gregory.
Yes, that has, which I think is wrong. They were all for taking our son. If we'd give up guardianship, there wouldn't have been a problem. We don't want to give up guardianship. We want to be a part of his life, a part of the decision making with his medical and whatever programs they decide to put him in to help him get better. We want to be a part of that. But if we were to give up guardianship, the state would have come in and just took him. There would have never been a problem. We don't feel like we should have to give up our guardianship to get help for our son.
I asked William for some final thoughts as to this whole situation, getting ready to go back to court for a 6th time, being asked to give up guardianship, looking at the prospect of his son being transported 4 hours away. And he had this to say.
Maybe a little extreme, but this is the way I feel. I have never in my life experienced anything so cold-hearted. And in my opinion, the Department of Human Services of the state of Illinois would show more compassion and concern for a stray dog than they did for our child.
It's a hard story to hear from a family talking about this. And then after I published the story, I reached out to the Department of Human Services for comment multiple times to multiple people. I have not heard back. They're going to have to address this. And the questions I have are, what are your policies on exchanging guardianship for services? why? What's the motive behind that if you do have a policy like that? And then also, what's your policy for placement of individuals in proximity to their families, right? An hour and a half away versus 4 hours away. You hear a lot in the criminal justice space about, well, you don't want Chicago people being imprisoned in Southern Illinois because they're going to be so far away from their families. And I think, the same type of mentality could be used for discussing this issue when it comes to people with disabilities. But after I published the story, I've gotten a ton of feedback already. It hasn't even been like 12 hours since it was published before people started blowing my phone up about how they know of other similar stories. State Representative Charlie Meyer is somebody else who is on top of this, and he says that he's got tons of stories from previous years, and they're ongoing.
I'm working with 4 different families right now on issues with DHS. It's an ongoing problem, and it's a problem we shouldn't be having. I want to work with them. We see what the problem is. This family's got a court order. A judge has said he needs to be at the closest SODC to his parents. They are denying that. 6 times to go to court when he had nowhere to go. The hospital kept him not getting paid for a couple weeks. Our governor's out campaigning, telling people to fight, but he's not here fighting for the Illinois residents like this family. They're being thrown underneath the bus. It's terrible the way they're being treated right now. We need to fight for our most disabled, and we have a lot of problems constantly reoccurring. And it's not the first one, and it won't be the last one.
Yeah, it's not the first one, and it won't be the last one, especially if more families are willing to go on record to share their story. And the volume, I would imagine, is going to get to a point where DHS is going to have to respond to these questions. I had one source tell me that they believe that the situation of the money is the motive behind this, right? If from my understanding, and this is something I've got to confirm, right? It's part of the journalism, is what is that motive behind that policy, if that is a policy? Is it because it's only coming out of a certain line item if an individual is a ward of the state versus if they're not a ward of the state, the money comes from something else? Is it about matching federal dollars if they have enough wards of the state, or what is the motive here? I mean, they're all your tax dollars, by the way. But Meyer says Dorsey's story is hard to hear.
They were told 3 weeks ago on a Friday morning that if they wanted their son to get care, they would have to give up legal guardianship of him by 5 o'clock Friday night. I was contacted about 3:30. We were able to stop that from happening. That's when we went to court on Monday, and we got the hospital to keep him in it for an extended stay so that he would be safe and the family would be safe.
Now, I asked Representative Meyer yesterday at the State House what needs to be done here. Legislation, more openness, more accountability.
We need to be able to work together. It shouldn't be Rep. Meyer's calling, let's see what we can do to delay this, stall this, move this. It should be, how do we fix it? Because repeatedly, for many years, I have gone and asked DHS for help, and this is what we get. We get 6 court cases for this family and poor Greg to have to go through. He shouldn't have to. All they want is for their son to be safe and for them to be safe and taken care of. They are residents of the state of Illinois. DHS determined this 2 years ago that he qualified for care, and they were not able to find any place for him.
Now, William told me that they wouldn't be where they're at right now without State Representative Charlie Meyer, who you're hearing from here. And I asked Representative Meyer why it takes a state representative to actually do something to make sure families aren't being taken advantage of.
I don't know why it has to take a state rep. You would think that they want to help everybody. You would think the agencies would come out, but the agencies seem more on proving a point than taking care of their loved ones out here. And this family, that's all they want. They want taken care of. I've helped people from Peoria. I've helped people from up by Chicago. And it's a fluke. They see a post like this that you put out there, they know that I'll help them, and they contact me. And that's what we try to do.
And I imagine I may get contacted by other families beyond the Dorsey family dealing with this. I may hear from other families who've lost guardianship or who've been battling this type of issue for years. As the Dorsey family said, they've been battling it for a couple of years now. Just with the increased intensity of their son's condition, their ability to handle it, and then obviously asking for help. I mean, that's what what the state's there, right? I mean, you pay tax dollars to go to a state agency to help those in the most need, and you hope that that's done in a accountable and fair way. But Meyer says there's more cases out there like this.
Well, there's many cases. I've gone to them before, and we can supply you with more families as we dig into this. But it's ongoing all over. I heard from Senator Chapin Rose today. I mean, it's like, what are we going to do? Nobody should be left in a jail for 4 months because they were in a cell where they weren't taken care of.
So that's another story we may hear from a different family in the near future. Again, the questions I have for the Department of Human Services here in the state of Illinois: what's the policy on exchanging guardianship for services, and what's the policy on keeping individuals in closer proximity to their families? It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning. Get the newsletter in your inbox at thecentersquare.com and the podcast where you get podcasts. And don't forget, you can catch this show each and every weekday morning. I'm early this morning. It's because I got to get to the state capitol. So that's just how it rolls. It's Illinois in Focus.